Hey, comic lovers, EMoney and the old man back with you again. Alright, so if you watched last week's episode, you know we talked to the co-creators of Space Bastards.
No. We talked to the co-creators of Space Bastards.
Okay. So if you want to watch that, haven't done it already, that's available on our channel right now. So, since we did that, we're a little bit behind on our other comic book news. So, it was about a week and a half ago, a Super Bowl took place, and a certain old man's favorite team took home the trophy. So he was pretty pleased about that. But also, during the Super Bowl, we had a couple trailers that we want to talk about today. Also, we have our comic book reviews and previews, and a couple things came in the mail this week. We have our monthly boxed heroes to unbox, and we have a CGC unboxing over here. Alright, so, for those of you who watched the trailers during the Super Bowl, should we tell him the truth? This is Back Issues. Alright, comic lovers, so before we get started today, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, give us a thumbs up, and if you like, leave us a comment. Alright, so in addition to the heart-stopping game last week, the Rams versus the Bengals, we had some pretty fun trailers pop up, in addition to all the cool commercials that we saw during the game. So, some of those trailers, first of all, most interesting probably, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, hold on, spoilers. Hold up. Give me a minute.
Okay, so, interesting thing about what happened during the game was...
Go ahead.
Was the old man was like kind of half watching, and he had his tablet in his hand, and the commercial came on, and then that line was said, and if you watched it, you guys probably know what I'm talking about. So the line was said, and then I gave a reaction. I was like, and the old man was like, what happened? What was it? And, you know what? Don't tell me. I don't want to know. Because if you have ever, watched this show, you know the old man doesn't like spoilers. So he tries to steer clear of most trailers so he can enjoy the movie, to its, full capacity when he's in the theater. So that was a week and a half ago. So this is near the end of February. So I have to go over 2 months. I have to try to keep the old man in the dark so he doesn't get spoiled. So I know there's probably going to be a lot of other, cool stuff in the Multiverse of Madness. Like, I hope so. But, just keeping that little tidbit away from him will make him enjoy it even more. So, hopefully, guys, I can keep that away from him. All right. You can come back now. You coming back? Okay. All right, so also at the Super Bowl, we had DC's The World Needs Heroes trailer, and it was, we got a lot of stuff, all of DC's stuff that's coming out in 2022. Welcome back.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a new trailer for the Flash movie coming out this year, and we also had scenes from Aquaman, and also Black Adam, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
That movie, they've been saying that movie's coming out for a decade now. I don't believe it.
Well, from the Black Adam trailer, we had little snippets of teases of Hawkman, Pierce Brosnan's Dr. Fate, and Atom Smasher. So it's going to be a pretty jam-packed movie.
And you could tell I don't care that much about the DC movies as I do about the Marvel sports.
Right. And I'm pretty sure you were watching. I mean, I thought you were watching during Doctor Strange.
I wasn't paying a lot of attention, but,
All right. So there's the DC trailer. Also, we got a little trailer for Moon Knight, and that one didn't really give a whole lot away that we didn't already know.
I saw who I think is the villain.
Mm-hmm. Ethan Hawke.
Well, that doesn't tell me who the character is. I still don't know.
He seems like he's a cult leader. I don't know the name, but that's what he looks like in the trailer.
I just hope that this version of Moon Knight is closer to some of the original series, the older stuff, because the current series, I just don't like Mr. Knight, the main character. I don't like that persona that Moon Knight is. So if they stay away from that in the show, I'll be fine.
All right, so Moon Knight trailer. And also, finally, not comic book, but still cool, the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power trailer. And people seem kind of split on this one and what their initial reactions in the first trailer are, because one problem that people have if you only watch the movies is the lack of familiar characters in this story. We have we're going to see a younger version of Galadriel in this show, so that's pretty much the only familiar character that we have. And also, there would seem to be an abundance of CGI in the trailer.
Well, they've sunk a boatload of money in this thing. It's ridiculously expensive. They have spent this. The budget was huge, and I'm just concerned that there's going to be too much CGI. I like what they can do with CGI, but you should only use it when you have to. I mean, you shouldn't do CGI when you can do practical stuff.
Did we learn nothing from the Hobbit movies?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, trailers can be misleading, so, obviously we're going to watch every episode.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it would have to be, really horrible for us to just say, we're not going to watch this anymore.
I don't think they can make something so horrible that I wouldn't watch it if it was Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. All right, so there is Lord of the Rings of Power, and all of our Super Bowl trailers. All right, so next up is our comic book reviews. Now, if you've never watched the show, we grade these comic books on a 5-shield rating system. We grade each comic book with 2 scores, one for writing and story, the other one for artwork. And then we combine our 4 scores together and give it an average overall score. So we have 2 mentions this week.
Didn't make the top 4, but we'll
still want to talk about
anyway.
Both of them are new titles.
Number ones.
Right? Mm-hmm. And first one here is a post-apocalyptic story.
Well, that's why I got it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's from Behemoth. We don't get a lot of stuff from Behemoth. And it's Quad number 1. And I don't know if this is a subtitle or what, but it's Quad, Terra, and Elvis.
All right, so apparently Terra and Elvis have appeared in other stories before, but this is the first time doing it. All right, so in this post-apocalyptic world, a massive solar storm hit Earth, and global communications were lost, nuclear reactors collapsed, financial systems went down, this whole society collapsed, and so there's this new world in which people are slowly kind of rebuilding
it
stuff.
sounds just like that TV show. What was it called?
Revolution.
Revolution. Short-lived, but it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. So, obviously, based on the first panel, some electronics are working again because she seems to be able to use a phone. And mechanics are highly regarded in this world because, obviously, everything is broken from the solar storm and things need to be fixed. So mechanics are highly sought after, highly regarded, and that is where our hero Terra and her cat Elvis come into the story. So also in this world, I guess from the nuclear power plant meltdowns, there are these mutant type creatures that are sort of similar to zombies, but not quite. And, people have to go through these territories carefully in order to avoid them or, go through them. So, obviously in this world with, things not working, certain parts are highly regarded, highly sought after, and that can make these mechanics targets as well as being sought after by other people. So, interesting story here. It's in black and white. That's another interesting thing about it. Terra and Elvis, Quad, Terra and Elvis, number 1 ends up with 3.5 shields.
After rounding
up. All right. This next issue we got was sort of for nostalgic purposes. If you ever watched Saturday morning cartoons as a kid.
If you did, you might have caught G.I. Joe. And the title of this book is G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero, Saturday Morning Adventures.
Mm-hmm.
That's a mouthful.
Right.
But it's number one.
All right, so I have to give kudos to the artist here because they do a fine job of making them look exactly like the cartoons from Saturday morning. I mean, it's like right off the screen, really. All right, so I guess being totally honest here, I watched the G.I. Joe movie like a lot as a kid, and I guess I didn't watch as much of the actual show, so I don't know a lot about it outside of the movie. And in this issue, the Cobra Commander gets his minions to track down this artifact, and it ends up being a magic lamp.
It's Aladdin's lamp.
And yeah, Aladdin's lamp, does what it does, and Genie comes out and says he has 3 wishes. I don't remember G.I. Joe being quite that campy.
It was not.
Okay, so this is
a little bit off track from what I'm used to.
Okay.
I didn't watch that many of the cartoons either, but
all right. So Magic Genie, little strange even for G.I. Joe. So interesting thing is when he opens up the lamp and he asks for ultimate power, and the genie actually has limitations. And he says, I cannot grant you power I do not possess. So, I have no dominion over the hearts and minds of other people, so I can't give it to you. So, he has to, be more reasonable in his wishes.
And specific.
Yeah. And so he wishes for something a little more manageable. And then he unleashes his new wish on G.I. Joe. So, another thing, if you ever watch the Saturday morning cartoons, you know that G.I. Joe put those PSAs at the end of every episode. In fact, I feel like a lot of cartoons did that. I know the Ninja Turtles did it for a while, and I know Power Rangers also did it. So I guess, that was a pretty common practice back then.
Well, at the end of the G.I. Joe one, you always got, and knowing is half the battle.
Yep. We made fun of that in college, too. So, if you were nostalgic for one of those PSAs, you'll get one of those at the end of this issue, too. All right, so G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, Saturday Morning Adventures, number 1. I'm out of breath now.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, 3.5 shields out of 5. All right, there is our mentions for this week. Now on to our top 4, because there were ties.
All right, so as usual, when we do this, there seems like there's always a tie. And this week we decided to play ladder toss, which is a little bit like horseshoes. And it looks like it's an old man's game because I won. You gonna put a picture of the game up there?
There it is.
That's what it is if you didn't know. So if you're not happy with the order that books 2, 3, and 4 show up in this little thing here, too bad. I got to pick. You didn't. So, number 4, according to the old man, is Devil's Reign, Superior 4, number 2 from Marvel Comics.
All right. So, in this issue, Otto Octavius and 3 of his multiversal counterparts are going through the multiverse and trying to hunt down other Otto Octaviuses in order to absorb their power or something.
Guess.
Sort of like the one in with Jet Li, sort of like that. All right, so one thing I find very satisfying in a lot of Spider-Man comics, mostly Spider-Man, and also in this issue, is Doc Ock eating crow. I mean, he always talks about his superior brain power, and he doesn't deal with the intellects of lesser men and all that crap, and yet he keeps getting outsmarted by these so-called inferior minds.
Well, this guy that he comes up against is not inferior at all.
Mm-hmm. He is, he calls himself the Superior 4. Well, this is the Supreme Octavius. And you might know what that is a reference to if you read Marvel Comics. All right, so Doc Ock meets his match, and also his cohorts, the Superior 4, are left to make a decision towards the end of the issue. So good crow eating in this one. I enjoy it. So Superior 4 from Devil's Reign, number 2, our number 4 pick for this week with 3.5 shields out of 5.
Correct.
Next up.
Number 3. Now, this is a book that it's one that EMoney likes a little bit more than I do. And I had to be corrected on the pronunciation because I thought it was just NYX, which maybe stood for something. I don't know. But it's Nyx. And this is the only comic I think we get from Dynamite.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so this is Nyx number 4.
All right, so in Nyx, I think she was first introduced in a Vampirella comic, but I didn't read Vampirella, so I just know about her from this series. So Nyx is a daughter of a demon of chaos, and she's half demon and also half human. Well, in this issue, Nyx thinks that it would be best to have her humanity taken out of her and have her just embrace her demon side, and things would be easier that way because her human part is conflicting with her demon part, and she just feels at odds about it. So she goes to this sorcerer to have her humanity extracted, and well, that doesn't go to plan.
Never does.
And during that encounter, she meets up with a certain blonde vampire hunter. Not that vampire hunter, but a pretty interesting one nonetheless. So the ensuing conversation is kind of interesting. It's good character development, and she is taught that maybe all these negative thoughts and these dark thoughts that she has, maybe that's not her demon side. Maybe that's just part of being human. Being human isn't all sunshine and rainbows, and your dark half is just demon stuff.
It's not?
No.
Oh. Wow.
So, she, at the end of the issue, she's like, okay, maybe I never thought of it that way. So, I'm hoping she sticks to this attitude in future issues, but people are so easily swayed in these stories. If, movies, TV shows, comic books, it's like they have one conversation with somebody, and they have a complete 180 on whatever their stance was on a topic. Like, the best example I can come up with is Smallville. Clark, seems like a dozen times or more during the show, he says to himself, okay, I'm going to tell Lana my secret. I'm going to share everything with her, and it's going to be all out there for her. And then he has one conversation with somebody or one experience about, someone else's secret identity, and then he's like, okay, now I'm going to keep lying to her. And it's like he just can't stick to his guns. And that's how it is in a lot of these stories.
In real life, you got to take a baseball bat up against somebody's head to get them to change their mind.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Nyx number 4, our number 3 pick for this week, 3.5 shields out of 5.
All right, next up, a book we've read from the very beginning, and this is issue number 22, and that's from Marvel Comics. It's Thor, and it's the 4th part of the God of Hammer story.
All right. So in this issue, if you've been reading Thor, Mjolnir has become sentient, and it's gone rogue and has sort of a corporeal body and is going up against Thor. So Thor summons all of his allies. From pretty much all realms to combat Mjolnir, and it's a pretty brutal bout here. And Thor has to realize his true power, that he's more than just a hammer. It's sort of similar to how he was in Thor Ragnarok. He's not the god of hammers, he's the god of thunder. And so we are left to see what if Thor can combat Mjolnir. And also we get a pretty big character death in this issue. And
maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Anything can happen in the next issue, And also, I forgot what I was going to say about the next issue. If he has the power that he needs to defeat Mjolnir, we're going to find out in the next issue. All right, so Thor number 22, our number 2 pick for this week, coming in at 3.5 shields out of 5.
All right.
Oh, that's what I was going to talk about. Sorry. Once this whole matter is resolved, are they going to destroy Mjolnir and Thor's going to have to live without it for a while, or is Mjolnir going to come back to him? I don't know. We'll find out. I think we'll find out next issue.
Thor, that is hammer.
Yeah. Next up.
So next up, our number one pick this week is from AWA, and we've pretty sure have put all 4 issues, this being the 4th out of 5. I think all 4 issues have been in the top 3. But this one sure was. It came in at number 1, and that's Knighted.
All right, so in this issue, our hero Bob is getting into his role as the Knight. Now, if you've been reading along with us, you know that the Knight is pretty much the suit. It's controlled by a guy who created the suit, and I've told you before, he's sort of like Alfred and Lucius rolled into one. And Bob is pretty much just a piece of meat in the suit.
He's along for the ride.
Yeah. So when he's fighting the I forget what their actual names are, but they're kind of like mods, like evil mods. If you watch Book of Boba Fett,
they're mechanically enhanced.
Yeah, and he's fighting these guys, and he's jumping around and kicking, and he's like yelling at the guy on the comm, and he's like, "Hey, my legs don't stretch like that." So like I say, he's just along for the ride. But Bob is kind of getting into his role too.
He seems to.
Yeah. And also in this issue, we get the origin story of who I guess is going to be the big bad in the final issue, which it seemed kind of late to be bringing in the big bad, but whatever. So at the end of the issue, like I said, Bob's been kind of getting into the role. Right after he thwarts a assassination attempt, he knocks out the assassin, and he sees the big bad on his phone screen looking up at him, and Bob, like in his gruff Batman voice, goes, "You're next," and smashes the phone. So, good on you, Bob. Good on you. All right, so Knighted, number 4 out of 5. Our number 1 pick for this week comes in at 4 shields out of 5. All right, so what do we have? That's last week's issue. So what do we have coming up this week?
All right, this week, it's a big week for us. It is honestly more comics that we're going to pick up this week than we have easily in the last year.
Real.
Yep. It's going to be intense. We're going to have to read some comic books. All right. Some of the ones we're looking forward to. DC versus Vampires, number 5. There's a book called All New Firefly.
Oh, okay.
EMoney loves his Firefly.
Is it from Marvel?
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Gunslinger Spawn, number 5. Two Moons, number 10. We've enjoyed that from the beginning. A new Ghost Rider story, Ghost Rider number 1. Now, I've seen a bunch of the covers. One of the cover has I think it's a Dodge Charger with Reyes leaning against it. But all the other covers have a guy on a motorcycle. So I'm not sure who this Ghost Rider is. And out number 5, I think it's the last issue of the book that takes place in a World War II prison of war camp.
Right, okay.
And there's some supernatural overtones. So
All right.
Some stuff we're really looking forward to.
So there's our previews for this week. Get them at your local comic book shop. All right, now on to what I think is the best part of this week, our unboxings. Now, we got 2 things here. We have our Boxed Heroes unboxing, and in just a minute, we're going to do our CGC unboxing. All right, so as we've told you guys before, if you want your own Boxed Heroes, you can do it one of 2 ways. You can get a one-time Boxed Heroes box just to see how you like it. Or you can get a monthly subscription, and with that, you get a bonus subscriber issue in your box.
Which is usually the best comic in the box.
Right. All right, so they give us a few extra little knickknacks in every box. They have a couple stickers here. You have Star Wars Porgs right there. Then you have Mo from The Simpsons right there. Also, you have a trading card. Oh, it's a DC one this month. It's a Guardian right there. And then, they give you all the information to win a free comic book by sharing your unboxing on social media.
You mean like we do?
Yes.
Oh, hope we win.
All right, so let's get to the actual comics. All right, so the subscriber issue is, faced the other way from the other issue. So in order to get this right, we have to do this. And then I have to flip the bottom one. No peeking. All right. All right, here we go. First up, we have Silver Surfer Rebirth with a Dan Jurgens cover variant.
Well, we have Silver Surfer Rebirth #1, but I don't think it's this cover, so that's okay.
All right, next up, we have She-Hulk #1 Scotty Young variant.
Same thing, we already got She-Hulk #1, but we do not have the Scotty Young variant. And I'll take all the She-Hulks we can get.
All right. Next is, it's Animal Castle #2.
Well, that's good because we got Animal Castle #1 in last month's box. I read it. I thought it was pretty good, so look forward to reading #2.
Azalar the Rat variant, which I guess that's him on the cover there.
I would assume.
All right. Next, we have Mary Jane and Black Cat Beyond at #1.
We did not get that one, so something new.
All right. Oh, next up we have Stray Dogs Dog Days #2.
And we did get that one. We got the horror cover variant, so we didn't get this cover.
All right. Next is, interesting cover here. The Death of Wolverine, or Deaths of Wolverine #1, the Garson variant.
Okay. Same thing. We got this book, but we did not get that cover.
Oh, now we have an old-ish issue here, 90s issue. We have X-Men #12. This is the series that started off with Jim Lee here.
All right, I don't remember if there's anything key about this issue. I don't think there is, but still, it's a low-numbered issue.
Next up, we have... this is a key issue if I've ever seen one before. Booster Gold #24.
Sarcasm. I was starting to get excited.
Yeah. Booster Gold Millennium Week #3 by Dan Jurgens. So if you're a Dan Jurgens fan, there's one for you right there.
Yeah. All right, next.
Next up, we have the Punisher War Journal Dead Man's Hand #9. Or Part 9. It's actually Punisher War Journal #47.
Well, as far as I know, there's nothing really interesting that high in that run. But it is what it is.
All right, now for our special subscriber bonus book here. We have Savage Spider-Man #1 Scotty Young variant.
We also have the #1 issue, but not the Scotty Young variant, so that's okay.
All right, so there is our Heroes box for this week, and if you want your own, like I said, go to boxedheroes.com. All right, now it is time for our CGC unboxing, and we actually just have one comic in here.
Now, we do know that this is a G.I. Joe 21. This is one of 2 books we sent to be pressed by CGC. Now, since we sent those 2 books off, we've since got our own press, so we don't need to send it to them anymore. And the press department is a little backed up.
Yeah, if you can help sending your comic books to be pressed, then avoid it at all costs.
Because we shipped this out on May 31st of 2021. So that's, 9 months? You can make a baby in 9 months. So, now keep in mind, this is ours.
Yeah.
The stuff you see us opening at Comic Book World, those holy grails that we've helped open.
Sorry, it's not going to be as exciting.
Yeah, that's not ours. So we're more excited about this because it's our book.
Right.
Now, when we shipped it off, it had some dings in the spine, and I have no idea how good a job they do pressing it. When we shipped it off, I think it was about an 8.5. So, to be honest, anything we get back that's, I'll take a 9.0 and up, be happy with.
All right, so there it is. G.I. Joe #21. And we ended up with a 9.2.
I'll take it.
All right, so there it is for you. First appearance of Storm Shadow, and it is the silent issue of G.I. Joe.
No dialogue.
Right. All right, so there you have it. So this is going to be available at our pop-up comic book shop come spring.
Correct.
And if you're in the Louisville area, you're going to be excited about this because we've been bolstering our comic book inventory during the winter months. We got a lot of great key issues that we're going to be putting out for the first time. Also, we have 5 CGC comics that we sent out like last week. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, it'll be back in time for the spring.
Well, that's about the amount of time Jacob at Comic Book World is getting his stuff back.
Right.
So we can only hope.
Also, if you're a toy collector, we have all sorts of new toys that we're going to be putting out for our first sale come spring.
We're in the process of picking up a major toy collection.
Yeah. So comics, toys, DVDs, Blu-rays, like we have all new stuff that's going to be coming out in the spring. So you guys are going to want to stay tuned for all that. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. No movieism this week. We had a pretty jam-packed show today, so hopefully we'll have time for one next week. All right, we'll see you guys on the next one. Excelsior.
True believers, save up your nickels and dimes. That pop-up shop is coming soon.